for B2P 35 VOD review. I had 33 up on the screen. Run a little bit late, you know. It happens. It happens. But we are going to get a few games going here. Or a few VOD review games going here. We have a selection of 4 from our 4 matches. And yeah, first one up is actually going to be, if I can do what I want to, if OBS will allow me to do what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the stream. But yeah, guys, VOD review is going to be going on now. We're going to start at Blizzard World. And that was a match between Knockout and Hurricane. This is specifically going to be game 2. It's a long one. I don't know why it was the suggested one, but we have 3 over 20-minute games that we're going to be watching today and looking over. And yeah, it's 26 minutes, 23 minutes, 8 minutes and 29 seconds, and then 22 minutes. So let's go ahead and get in this first one. This is game 2 of match 1 between Knockout and Hurricane. Almost forgot one crucial thing. Our lovely handy dandy epic pin.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
And over here on the side, we're gonna come up top. We're changing it up a bit. We're only doing one game per match to make it a little bit quicker than it usually is. So we're gonna start in this top-down view like we always do. We're gonna look here at our team comps, right? Like we always like to do at the start here. So obviously with Reinhardt being back in the mix and Sigma being the part of the bans for B2P 35, and I'm fucking up a lot of stuff right now. Give me 1 second, guys. I don't even have the right information up, so. When you rush things, these things happen, right? When you rush things, these things happen. So where is my VOD review text file? VOD review. There we go. I said this was Knockout versus Hurricane. Not what I want. Awesome. Properties. Okay. Match 1. I did not want to go into Volskaya either. Wow, I am really messing up, guys. Sorry. What up, Marsh? What up? I don't want to go into Volskaya. I want to go into Blizzard World. Hybrid.
Ready for battle.
We're off to a rocky start. Names, properties. This is Knockout versus Hurricane, not Jurricane. Been a long weekend, guys. It was very busy. So let's go ahead. Let's get up. All right, VOD review officially starting, guys. Let's speed up to where we can get to the start of the game real quick.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
All right, so as usual, let's go ahead. Let's talk about these lineups here, right? So looking at our defending team first here, this is going to be Knockout's team. Knockout's sitting on that ball. Your second tank here is Zarya. Actually, a very popular combo right now, especially because they're stunned and ball's so popular. Zarya enables the ball to get through and do what he needs to without getting stunned. So definitely a good tank lineup here. As far as Blizzard World goes, you know, a lot of teams do opt to run a sniper, and we got one right here with Cheese Bum on the Ash. Right now, Tracer on our other DPS is probably one of the most beneficial DPS that you can play right now, especially when you're running with that ball, right? So Tracer's obviously a big part of dive, and ball is constantly diving targets. So a ball and a tracer that work well together will do a lot of harm to the enemy team. Looking at our supports here, we are lacking a Zen. We have an Ana. A lot of times here, especially like with this comp, with the ball, the Zarya, the Tracer, the Ash, you're probably going to more or less want to opt for like a Zen Mercy. I know a lot of people don't like the Zen Mercy, but when you're talking about having a long range sniper like Ash here, Mercy's great for pocketing that. Mercy's also really good at helping Ball sustain. So Ball goes in, does what he needs, comes right back to wherever the Mercy is. If you're a Ball player and you have a Mercy on your team, always pay attention to where she is, because that is your outlet, right? That is where you're going when you are majorly in trouble and can get to her. Mercy can heal up Ball quick enough that, you know, it's just fine and dandy for Ball. Plus, you get that damage boost on something like an Ash, right? And then the Zen just makes things pop easier, right? I know in the lower metal ranks, like we are playing here in B2P, that Zen is a bit harder to play because you're not always getting the peel that you need. You have to be extremely accurate with his projectiles. You know, people don't always focus targets together. I like to think that we focus targets together here in B2P, but it's not always the case. But yeah, typically with this setup, you know, we're not running the proper supports with it. It should be Mercy Zen at this point. So looking over on our attacking side, you know, we're running that standard Zarya Hog that you see so much, just run into their face and kill things, right? Then you do have the double sniper. So the great part about this comp right here is that you have these two tanks that are sustainable together. Zarya can keep the hog from being purpled, can, you know, protect the hog with the bubble on very important instances that hog needs to be bubbled. And at that point, your DPS can take these off angles typically and do the long range fight. So while your Zarya and your Hog are in there causing trouble and gathering all of the attention and doing damage themselves, your double sniper from the edges, from the outskirts, can either get a pick by themselves, or they can follow up on the damage that the Zarya and the Hog are doing to get a final blow. Right here with the Zen, obviously, you know, Zen's very powerful right here. In the double sniper setup, I'd more or less probably prefer more of what blue team is running probably here in B2P. So you got the Ana and the Moira, maybe Moira Bap, you know, something like that. Obviously a Mercy, since you're running the double sniper, you know, that would be all fine and dandy. Mercy has a lot of mobility. She can get in and out of a fight. Mercy is actually really popular in the higher tier right now too. So being able to get from your tank, get from your snipers to your tanks, back to your snipers really quickly, Mercy is going to be able to do that really, really, really well. Simply because she can fly to them, right? She has her guardian angel. And then, you know, Zen, like I said, is a popular pick, but I do like the BAP choice with the Zarya Hog, simply because he can output that extra bit of healing. Um, he's got his window is actually very useful in this setup too, just to help keep them up, or to help Hog do a bit more damage, right, and help Zarya do more damage with right clicks. Because the more damage you do with right click on Zarya, the more ult charge you build, and we all know how good Grav is. So yeah, we're going into double sniper versus, you know, the standard ball Zarya comp. Let's see how it plays out here in our first fight. So let's speed it up right now until we get our first engagement. We do have our snipers poking at each other. bring it down a bit more so we can see better what is going on. All right, so Knockout does slam in. Dr. Psychotic and Hurricane, or Hurricane's still looking forward. Dr. Psychotic does get a hook. And for our double snipers and for our Zen and for our BAP, as soon as, wherever my mouse went, yep. As soon as Hog is looking in this direction and he gets the hook on Hammond, right? Like, as soon as you hear your hook come out, you guys need to be looking at what he hooked and firing at it. Anytime Ball gets hooked, he should at least almost die, right? Granted, you guys don't have the McCree, you don't have a Brig, you don't have really any other type of stun besides the Hog. Like, Ball will survive if you don't focus him. And Knockout came in here, he slammed on the back and then tried rolling out. He stuck around in this area for a little bit and got hooked. He should be dead at that point, right? So he gets out here a little more scot-free. Let's continue on with our fight. See how Blink goes down. Yeah, I'm assuming there was a missed hook there. All right, so let's look at this real quick, right? So we do have Blink coming back from spawn. As my mouse without borders is screwing up. Come on. Why do I have to have technical difficulties like this? Yep. Of course it's... Jeez, come on. Alright, give me half a second, guys. Okay. Now, let's just drag this over here by the team stuff. That way I don't run into that issue anymore. Alright. So, we're still waiting for Blink to come back. Luckily, Blink is Tracer, so they do get back pretty fast. At this point, you have two snipers up here on this high ground, right? So this is a very easily diveable target. If Zen was up here, it would hurt just as much. One of these snipers, like I was saying earlier, you know, you guys getting that crossfire, right? Have one of them up here on this high ground, right? Easily, they can step back into the doorway that's up here, right? That way, if anybody tries to push around to this side and kind of use this wall or hold on the point back over here, you have this sight line, and you also have this sight line, right? If anybody's sitting on Boathouse, you know, it's really hard for them to hide. But being able to create that crossfire is probably better, in all honesty. Yes, Ball here can try to seek and destroy one of them, but having that crossfire is very important. And, you know, we do see our tanks pushing up right side here to try and take the point. And at this point, you know, Zarya is probably, you know, metaphorically pooping in her pants right now because she's got a Hog Zarya running up at her. I believe she's already used her bubble on Knockout. So Knockout could get hooked here. Knockout could get killed here, right? And that is the Zarya's main job here in the Ball Zarya setup, is to make sure that Ball is protected. So we do have Blink coming back. Yep, just now has respawned. Let's continue in on it. So yeah, we do have Game Ruler go down to Born Chiller. Moira is down. Cheese Bum's down. We're not going to replay Blink's unfortunate event right there. That did get clipped by Marsh Kip. But, yeah, we do see it there. And this is already a lost fight. So, Knockout has two decisions here as Ball. He can try to disrupt and stay alive and convert the point. Or not convert, stall the point for as much time as possible. In all honesty, with the Widow down, yeah, I mean, at this point, I'd be getting out if I was Ball. Like, that's a lost point. Don't waste any health. If your team is going to recontest, they need you at full health in order to recontest, right? So at this point, knockout, we can see he's grapple hooking straight to the point. We're going to see if he rolls back out. I don't remember if he does or not. But yeah. It looks like he is staying in. He's going up on top of Boathouse. But look. What did we just say happened? If he stays in, he's not going to be ready there for the recontest, right? Granted, it doesn't look like we are going to get a recontest as our supports are just popping up, cheese bumps just popping up. Ball can get back, but it's an unnecessary ult charge that's just kind of fed. Luckily, he didn't have his mines and try and put down his mines, right? You see Hammonds do that all so often, and all that does is feed ult charge. And one thing I want to know about that, right? Note about that, right? So if he does have his mines and he swings in here and he drops all his mines, right? Drops all his mines. As soon as he's dead, what I want to see is I want to see you and you. As soon as the point's won and they're not going to be recontesting and that ball is dead, I want to see you guys come back to the point. I want to see you take those mines. Just run into them. Obviously, don't kill yourself, but something I don't think a lot of people realize is that Ball does not gain any ult charge from his mines doing damage or killing people. So it's free ult charge for you guys if there's a bunch of mines on point, right? And there's no fight. Like, Hammond just busts it for no reason, just trying to stall the point, right? Fight's over. You're capping the point. You can legitimately on Hog take damage, on Zarya take damage, and then your supports can get mass loads of ult charge off of the Hammond making a mistake. And that's one of the things that if you're playing Hammond, don't do that. You know, yeah, I know we all like to pop it on like it's a cooldown, but think about when you're using them more, right? Because you can actually give up a lot of ult charge to your enemy if they're smart enough about it. Alright, so we do have Cheese Bum up here on the high ground. Link now as well. So we have the mirror now of the double sniper. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. So let's fast forward to our next fight. And apparently my numpad just decided to stop working again. Thanks, Mass Without Borders. Alright, so here we go. Knockout is out on the Hog now, too, so we have Zarya Hog on both sides. Knockout is in kind of a dangerous position here. So, what I mean by that is, let's actually show it, right? Let's actually show it. So, if we come down here, right? Turn off our overlay. Do I not have options? Oh, it's in replay settings. That's where it is. They moved it now. Options. Outline strength. We do that for our videos. We take off outlines. You can see these outlines, right, of your teammates. It's very easy for Knockout to look over there and see that his team is retreating, right? And he's already peeked this corner a couple of times, right? Yeah, he might be able to get a hook on one, but you got Zen, you got Ashe, you got Widow, you have your BAP over here. You know, the ball's somewhere and the Zarya is somewhere, right? I don't know if he necessarily saw them, but you can obviously gather that if you're over here by yourself, even as Hog, and your team is all the way over there, right? So where Hurricane just died, right? Hurricane just died. But look how far he is away from his team, right? I know we all like these flanking hogs, or we hate these flanking hogs that come in and get a pick. See, Rambo sees him, hook is missed, and absolutely no help. So now your team is going after the ball. Great just dive on this ball here. Yeah, McCann does go down, but ball being such a huge threat there, very important that you do get that kill on the Bob. We do have the Reinhardt out now from Cassins. Markship goes down to Widow, so we're just getting some more sniper dueling. Oh no, Bob. Poor Bob. So yeah, always pay attention to where you're throwing your Bob, right? He runs off of things. Certain payloads, including this payload right here, if you throw him directly at the front of this payload, it is low enough that he is going to step up and over and past the payload. You actually have to hit it from the side or the back for him to actually, not doing that. What I'm assuming happened for Cheese Bum here is he sent him off like this, trying to put him in here. He comes just left and just kind of rolls along the wall here all the way to the back. You got to make sure you put your Bob in the right places, right, guys? Like, that Bob could have been a much better position. Granted, it does push the rest of the red team into the Nexus experience here. But yeah, I mean, how easy is it for them to get away and just run in here and kind of regroup? Granted, Proof's outside. Proof needs to be running back this way. You can throw your ammo field out to help Zen if you want. But yeah, you need to be getting inside there. Yeah, it could have been a better Bob. Could have delayed a bit more. And right here, Hurricane is really far outside, right? Why would this ceiling? So he's between a Reinhardt and an Ash. That's a bad place to be. Even with Widow and Zen and Bap all there, that's a bad place for Azaria to be. Especially if you've already burnt your bubble, which he has. So, yeah. Ryan does 85 damage with a swing, guys, if you remember that now. He now does 85 damage. It only takes a couple of hits from Ash and a couple of swings, and that Zarya is no more. So, let's see how this works out for Mr. Hurricane here. Gets shotgunned out and dead. You always have to be aware on Zarya of where you are in relation to what's around you, including your own teammates. So there's that amazing bat cap that we saw during the stream. More sniper v sniper battle going on. Not much to talk about there. It's just headshots, right? One team getting a few more headshots than the other. All right, so let's talk about this moment. I mentioned it while the stream was going on. This payload has now hit the checkpoint, right? As soon as you hear, as the defenders, that payload has hit checkpoint, you need to full beeline to here. Why is that? Because this is now the enemy spawn. They're fighting here. Any kills they get, like they got on the Zen, right, are now spawning up behind them. Any kills that they get are now spawning up way the fuck back there. So you are going to end up losing this fight, and that payload is going to get pushed further and further and further just because you guys are out here. Look, we just lost McCann. Cheesebum died before the payload got there, so we can't really fault that one. But McCann just died. So we can see it right here. Like, it is a full meter still on her respawn. So as soon as you hear on Blizzard World, on defense, that payload has reached this checkpoint, do not push in this direction ever. You always want to beeline back to safety because now you're in a crossfire, right? Like, you got Dark Psychotic, you got Hurricane, you got Markship here. Rambo's going to be popping back up over here eventually. So you're here trying to chase down a ball, Zarya and Ash with this slow-moving comp of Hog, Ana, and Ryan. You have an off-angle Zen here, an off-angle Ash here. You have Ball and Zarya up here. Proof is coming in on the Ana. It's a very dangerous place to be. So You know, everybody was fighting up in the Nexus experience that allowed the ball just to push it to there. But as soon as you hear that, you got to get out. Got to get out, regroup, get to a more defensible position. One thing that, you know, we haven't talked too much about in B2P here is the types of cover. You know, temporary versus hard cover, right? Orion Shield's great. It's temporary. Don't ever trust it, like I've said before. It will come down at the least opportune times. What you want is hard cover. You want good corners, good safe corners. So, alright, so we are heading in to Lich. And speaking of good, safe cover, right? So, this corner, right here, is safe cover. If anybody tries to push through here, yeah, there's a Mega in there, but any solo person pushing through there, even a ball, even a tracer, is going to have a really hard time because that's a closed room and the whole team should be kind of standing in here or over here, and your tanks should be standing in this area, just holding this hard cover. This corner here is not a safe corner. Safe corner, unsafe corner. Reason being, let's say, you know, you take a little bit of damage and you back around here. You can't see what they're doing here, and they can very easily get you here and immediately exfil back out, right? The problem with this area over here and trying to attack from here is that you can't get yourself out of that. So that provides kind of a death room, right? It's also an area you can step back into. There is the Mega Pack right here that, you know, if your ball gets really low or your Reinhardt gets really low or your Zarya gets really low, then you can go get that Mega Pack. And it's really hard to push through this spawn to get something if a team is paying attention. So very simply, unsafe corner, safe corner. Let's try and use safe corners as much as we can, guys. One of the big ones is on Hollywood, but I don't think we're going over Hollywood tonight, so we won't end up talking about it. Alright, so here we go. It's already past that safe corner. Get a better view here of what's going on. Alright, valid use of the whole hog, right? Like, there's not a lot of great places to use a whole hog. Knockout here gets the hook on Dr. Psychotic. Pulls Dr. Psychotic in. Doesn't fire at him, immediately steps around here and ultimates on Dr. Psychotic to push him back. Granted, the nade helps as well, but pushing him back into the team where he's not going to easily get a hook and a kill, and your team can just utterly destroy that Roadhog. Perfectly fine use of the whole hog, right? Get that one kill that you need, especially on a high priority target like the Roadhog in your enemy's team comp, and just win the fight off of that. So a little bit early of a coalescence here. In the end, it does end up helping with the one kill. Decent pushback here. The reason I'm saying that is you shouldn't always charge as the Ryan into a Bob. This one is a bit safer, simply because the only sight lines they have on you is this specific sight line right here to shoot you in the back as you're going. The other great thing about putting Bob right here is we talked about safe corners, right? Like, this is a safe corner, and this is somewhat of a, this is kind of a medium. It's not unsafe or safe. It's a good, decent position to be at, but essentially this whole wall right here is blocking the Bob off from your team. Cassin's actually put him right into here. I'm assuming he was trying to push him off, you know, do the cheeky thing and push him off, but putting him right into that little, you know, that little lantern right there, little cauldron. Great choice. But Cassins needs to put his shield up there. I'm going to go back 20 seconds real quick. Alright, so here comes the Bob. He takes it, steps forward, pins it into the cauldron. Let's go to Cassins real quick. 1,000 health. You got to be putting your shield up here and just backing around that corner, right? So don't even swing at it. Don't even try and push him off. Like I 100% can tell you that's probably what Cassins is trying to do here is swing and knock the Bob off the edge. You don't need to at that point. You've put him in such a position that he's not going to kill your team, right? He's not going to get here. He's not going to get here. He's not going to get here. This is your Roadhog anyways, but he's not going to be able to hit him. Just put up your shield and just walk around this corner, right? Like, that is, at that point, you've successfully countered that ultimate. You can literally walk around, come rejoin your team. They can heal you up, and you can hold this corner right here. Don't need to give up your life trying to be fancy and put the Bob off the edge there. So I remember seeing that one during stream mentioning that he needed to put his shield up. So I did want to make note of that. Alright, so here we go. Cassins is down. Hog gets purpled, gets hooked. Proof did a good job of dropping the nade there on the hog as it's getting hooked. Cheese Bum, a little too far out. Cheese Bum sitting over here by the Mega. Not a very good place to be. So that Mega's great and all, but you can't stick around. So Cassin's already back up. I'm going to go back 20 seconds, guys. And I know a lot of you have played with me before on B2P scrim teams or, you know, maybe in quick play, right? Because I'm a quick play king. You've heard me say the Rhine's posturing, watch for shatter, right? Cassins puts his shield up here with nobody really to shoot at his shield, right? There's just Hurricane. Continues to walk forward. Continues to walk forward. Kind of does that little sidestep, right? That is posturing. Like, there's no reason for him to be walking like that, and a lot of Rhines do this. They'll just put their shield up, and they'll just walk forward with their shield until they're ready to shatter, and then hammer down, right? Granted, he gets the nano here too, so Game Ruler and him are probably working together. Yeah, there is no barrier to block him, but you have to be looking for that. Like, that 100% by Cassins was telegraphed, so Cassins, please don't do that anymore. Work on not doing that. The thing I always say is when you want to shatter, when you're looking to open with shatter, you want to fight exactly how you normally would. Don't even think about shatter, right? Don't even think about setting up for shatter. Just fight the way you normally would and take the opportunity that arises, right? Take the opportunity that arises. If you're Rhine v Rhine, you're getting in a swing battle, right? So let's say there was a Rhine on the other team, right? And you're both, here's hammer, right? And you're having a swing battle here, right? So here's them, here's you, you're having a swing battle. You know, rotate as you're swinging. You're going to take a little bit of damage, and if you work on your Rhine v Rhine duel, there's actually a couple workshop codes with bots that you can work on that and work on missing the enemy Rhine's hammer swings and things. But if you slowly rotate yourself this way, you know, maybe after your second swing, you end up right here. 100%, you just 180 your view or 90 degree your view and shatter. He's not going to be able to block that. Like, doing something like that is far superior than putting up your shield and just walking forward. Because everybody, at least, you know, if they understand the way that most Rhine players play, knew that shatter was coming in. Like, if I'm Zarya there, if I'm Hurricane, and I see that and I don't have my bubble, I'm hiding. If I have my bubble, I am literally standing in front of you, like right in front of you, wanting you to swing at me. And as soon as I hear Hammer, as soon as I hear that H come out, shift, right? Like, a good Zarya will see that posturing, and if they have their bubble, they literally will stand right here as you hammer down, right? because bubble blocks like a barrier would. Hog right here should be understanding that, you know, he's got to get the hook out for the hammer down, right? For the earth shatter. So definitely don't posture like that. Play it like you normally would. Granted, you do end up, I think, hitting the hog here, and I think the echo who is on the ground. So you do get a good shatter. It's a lot easier when there aren't barriers in the way. But against another Rhine, that most likely doesn't go your way, right? You don't get anybody in that shatter. So yeah. Let's talk about positioning here on Game Ruler, right? Why is Game Ruler over here by the Mega, right? So Anna's weird because with the more damage we have and the less barriers and the less healing that we have now, you can't just sit back on Anna and just heal away. Can't he just sit back there and expect to heal way in the back. You have to make plays. However, let's talk about what plays Game Ruler can make from here, right? So Game Ruler can see Blink. Game Ruler can now see Bob. I mean, not going to heal up Bob or anything. Cassins was right here, but is now backed away because he got low. Okay. That's great. So what type of play can Game Ruler make here? He can't heal his Rhine. He can't heal Cheesebum. Obviously, he just used his Nano. Bob is just coming out. And at this point, with Bob out, this is the opportune time to get out. Rejoin your team. We'll see if Game Ruler does that, but in the first place, Game Ruler shouldn't have been over here, right? Like, I understand he was here when he set off the Nano. That was his initial positioning. But at that point, he needs to come back around to here to the more safe position. He can put a nade in as he's, you know, coming out, which I believe he did put in a nade from this location to hit the hog. But let's see. Okay, so he is moving forward. He does manage to come back out. It looked like he went all the way around the staircase there. So good for Game Ruler. He shouldn't have been there in the first place. But yeah, he does manage to get out thanks to Bob. Cheesebum gets hooked. Oh, knockout goes down on a big flank again. Blink gets the pulse bomb. Good rotating back to the cover, to the hard cover. It's always good. Bob's in an opportune space. Dr. Psychotic was trying to push Bob forward so he could do a little more. Dr. Psychotic out on this flame. We have a ball out again. Rambo on the ground. A dangerous spot for Rambo to be. Knockout is out here. And this is why McCree actually right now is a lot better than Ash, right? What does McCree have that Ash does not have? Yeah, Ash has the shotgun, can push the ball away. But McCree has that burst damage right now, right? So he can start off with a fan. He can flash, he can fan, he can roll because his roll is also at an increased distance now as the ball tries to get away and fan again. You know how much damage that puts into a ball? And imagine if, once he gets flashed, Proof sleeps him, right? Like, as ball, McCree's scary. McCree is absolutely scary, especially because he's also like, he's fluffy McCree now. He's not thick McCree, he's fluffy McCree. We almost got a 250 McCree, but we have a 225 McCree. So it is a little bit harder for Ball to kill McCree now that he has that extra 225, right? And with Ball in the meta, and with the stun, and with the burst fire of Fan the Hammer, Ball can be scared of that, especially if you're sitting there and if you're peeling for an Ana. I gotta tell you, one of the scariest things in the world to me when I play Ball is flash sleep. Because even at a metal rank, the McCree, it's so easy to get the flash. And as soon as that flash comes in, if it makes it so easy for the Ana to get the sleep, right? just muzzle him and hit shift, right? He can't move for a little bit of time. Just muzzle him and hit shift. You'll hit the sleep every time. So, and that's one more thing to remember about ball, right? So I'm guilty of this a lot when I play Ana, right? So speaking of like Ana McCree, right? So ball comes swinging in, comes up, tries to pile drive. A lot of Anas, including myself, will try to hit the sleep when the ball is right here, right? We'll try to hit the sleep when the ball is right here. That is a bad idea. It is a very, high mechanic skill shot. And as a former player for the Gladiators used to say when he was talking about playing Widow is take the easy shots, right? Take the easy sleeps. Take the easy sleeps. Wait for that ball to slam down. Obviously, he's going to pop you up in the air, but it's a lot easier to shoot down on something and hit that sleep dart than it is to hit him here while he's about to make a drastic speed change straight down. It's opposite with McCree, right? As soon as you see that ball come up here and you hear him start to pile drive, toss your flash. Really easy to hit, and it will stop all of the damage, right? So the two, when we're talking about McCree, which isn't actually in this game, and in Ana, those are the two when you want to do your CC. With Ana, you want to do it after he lands on the ground. With McCree, you want to do it as he's starting his slam, right? Or you can just save it till after, Ana gets to sleep. You fan, roll, flash, fan, whatever you want to do to get a lot of damage into him. But yeah, definitely important that Ana hits her sleep here. And if they had a McCree instead of an Ashe, I mean, your inside layer, right? Like, you don't need the Ashe anymore. I would even say you don't need the Widow anymore. Let's go with something a little bit more close range and take care of it, right? So let's continue on. Dark Psychotic and Rambo are really far separated from their team because Knockout decided to push the rest of the team back. Nano Hog does push everybody off for a minute. Hooked. Knockout is in. And this is just stall mode here, right? Sadly, that bubble came in just a second too late. So let's talk about that, right? Because we talked about bubbles blocking, right? So how did Zarya, and this is something not, it's common knowledge, but I don't know that everybody knows it. So Zarya's back here, Hog's up here, Reinhardt is hammer downing. He's doing it right there, right? How does this bubble come out on the Hog but not block the Shatter, right? Well, Shatter hits in multiple segments. So Hog's already been hit. Shatter's already, say, on this wave or on this wave. Zarya puts the bubble out, hits the Hog, and then the Zarya gets hit by the Shatter, right? So you got to remember that sometimes it's better to stand back further if you want to get something like, a hook or a bubble or put your shield up, right? So if Orion's posturing and you're the other Ryan, sometimes it's better to kind of give up some ground and step back because he's going to be doing a Shatter and just swing. Remember, you can cancel your swing with a shield, with putting your shield up. So if you just swing wildly, a lot of Ryans will just Earth Shatter, and that gives you more time because you have till here in the point in time to block it, right? Being up in his face, it's a lot harder to do, but, that's something I just wanted to make note because we saw it in action right here. So that is true, Marsh. Game Ruler does get the purple out. Cheese Bum goes down. This is just a wild scenario of stall. Nano Tracer. I know people like Nano Tracer. I don't know why. As someone who's played a shit ton of Tracer, I will tell you that, yeah, it might help secure a kill or two, but there's a lot better Nano targets. I mean, on this team, probably not. Zarya might be your best if Hurricane's at high charge, which it looks like Hurricane is at high charge. You know, you can nano like right here. If you nano Hurricane instead of Rambo, right? Think about the extra damage that she's gonna do, that Hurricane's gonna do on Zarya, and think about this number we're looking at right here, right? That is a fight-ending ult. They are stalling right now. Get that ult into Zarya's hands, right? Get Zarya the nano. Get Zarya doing damage. You know, let's see what Zarya's charge is right now, right? Clear that before I go back in. F7. So 93 charge, right? 93 charge. So, yeah, Zarya's going to do a lot of damage with that nano, and it's going to get Zarya the Graviton that you so desperately need to just win this fight right now, right? Like, if you can get that Graviton, you can drop it, you know, that's going to do a lot for finishing out the fight. Yeah, and normally there are far better targets to nano than Zarya. But in this instance right here, you don't really have any good nano targets. So you get a nano Zen, let him frag out. Okay. Who you gonna nano? Ash. You know, I guess a dynamite would be nice. You can get another Bob. You know, that could work. Um, you get a nano ball? Nah, not at all. I mean, Tracer gets some limited use out of it, right? But Zarya, getting Zarya the Grav, and it's just like when we're talking about Winston and Ana together, right? We saw it a lot in Overwatch League where, you know, they were running double bubble and they would nano the monkey in. A lot of times they would say they might be in a fight and they would save that nano because Primal Rage just got used, right? So the next fight in, then they nano the monkey. Why is that? Because it's going to insanely charge Winston's ultimate. And if you've ever heard me talk about Winston's ultimate, a lot of people think it is the worst ultimate in the game. To me, it's about usefulness, and when is Winston's ultimate not useful, right? I guess, you know, if the enemy McCree has a high noon, right? Like that's a good reason. But that's why they would do it a lot of times, is not just because he could go in and be a menace and do a lot of damage, but it'll also build him a ton of ult charge. So he could have just used his rage last fight, and it's going to get him his rage this fight. So think in those same terms here with Zarya. Like, Zarya is almost a Grav. You're facing stall right now. Grav would be the perfect thing to end this stall. So on Ana, you really have to think about your nano targets in a lot of team comps. And in this one, I think, you know, definitely needed a little bit more thought than throwing it on the Tracer. There's that Grav we get. Imagine if we had that when everybody was still all together. Would have saved about, 20 seconds on the clock.
Score.
Nano's in.
Switching sides.
Every sport has their way to get away from things. Ana sleeps people and walks away. Lucio turns on speed and wall rides away. Mercy flies away to somebody else. Moira just kind of fades away. With Zen, nobody to run from if everybody's dead. That's the way Zen feels about it. So yeah, going into our next round.
Ready, 5, 4.
So we want to look at these stats real quick, just looking at them, right? And some key interesting things that we like to look at, right? So we always end up looking at the ults used. Obviously, Proof used 4 total ultimates. It's a lot of nanos, right? Just popping them off like they're candy, just handing them out to all the kids here. Yeah. So when it comes to damage, obviously, McCann was on the Moira. You know, didn't do a lot of damage. Did put out that 6,000 healing. Um, I personally, I'd probably go back and look and see what her healing meter was like through most of the game with only 795 damage done. Right. Obviously, those 0.28s are because you can do fractions of damage based off of like Zen Orb and things like that, and damage reduction, such as armor and things like that. So, but yeah, I mean, you you got three people at mid 4,000s here. You got to knock out Blink and Cheese Bum on that side. Over on the other side, you do have Marshkip up at that 7,000, but yeah, nothing too crazy outside of maybe that 24 eliminations for Marshkip as well. Definitely leading the server. So we'll let this go here, and we'll take one more look at stats again. So this is, something interesting. Granted, I always like to look at this. Like, I look at the KD, but then I also look at the Ks to eliminations, right? Com said Marshkip, I'm done. But yeah, I also like looking at the eliminations, right? So yeah, there's double the kills here for the red team. Um, Basically, it's a little less than double. But there is almost 50 more. There's almost double the eliminations too, right? So you would expect a team that's working together and killing things together that with this far of a spread, they'd have at least triple the eliminations, right? So definitely something to always look at is look at the total eliminations from a team when we're doing these matches, based on their kills. And yeah, I mean, double would be 82, so it's 11 more than double. All right, so we're walking in here. Let's look at our team comps. Obviously, we got Cheese Bum on that Pharah. Blink is on that Tracer that Blink likes to play. We were back to the Rein Zarya. We're on Rein Zarya on both sides. Obviously, a very robust comp, very easy to play, right? Um, Looking at our DPS from red side, who's on defense now, right? So you have the Junkrat. Remember, Junkrat doesn't have to see people to kill him, Marsh. You could literally just be sitting on this boat here doing the exact same thing you're doing right here. Like, imagine if they'd come out with Widow Ash with double sniper, right? And you got a Widow sitting back here. This is a very easy death. Like, at the start of the game, you don't know what they're coming out with. They got a Widow here or something very high damage like that. You could very easily die here. Widow can't see you sitting right here, and you're literally just lobbing them over, right? Just artillery that. Junkrat, if you're going to play him, doesn't necessarily need to see anyone to kill them at this poke phase. Later on, once they start pushing up, that's when you start getting more aggressive, right? So, also in positioning here, like Dark Psychotic's up kind of far with Hurricane back here. Yeah, we're all guilty of that on Zarya. I don't know what Rambo's doing in here on the Genji, other than possibly trying to get a one clip type attack here on one of the sports. But definitely a very dangerous thing. If he does decide that he needs to get out, at least Dr. Psychotic in his overextension here can have line of sight to get a bubble out to him, if need be, if he needs to get out. So I don't know if that's why Dr. Psychotic was there, but in the first place, Rambo shouldn't be there. He should be kind of just spamming and poking at this point, just trying to build up his ultimate, right? And that's what I see. Granted, we do see a lot of blades and nano blades here in B2P, but I see too much of this with Genjis, right? The flank Genji just trying to get the picks, trying to get the picks, trying to get the picks. You know, somewhere like here on the beginning of Blizzard World, your whole job is to get your ultimate, right? What better than to just poke, 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 poke. As soon as they come up past the statue, you can wrap back around, come up here, poke, 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 poke. As soon as you see something low, like let's say Marsh Kip here hits somebody with a grenade, hits the Ana with a grenade. If you're up here on the off angle poking, as soon as that grenade lands, you can throw primary fire that way and dash that way and get that kill. Immediately dash reset and come back. Right? And then just go poke, 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 poke. Genji right now in the meta, granted, you can get a lot of value out of him in metal ranks, but when it comes to actually being a viable character, he doesn't provide much outside of his ultimate, right? So, yeah. Rambo now down below, coming out behind. We're still in the poke war. Back that up 20 seconds. All right, so here we are, back where we were. Dr. Psychotic pushing up a bit too far. And everybody who wants to play Zarya, get used to firing your right clicks and being able to hit them in different ranges. Like, Zarya doesn't have to be in danger in order to do damage and charge her ult, either. Granted, you only get 4 of them. Alright, so Hurricane's up here. He's getting swung on. We use our bubble. Looks like our bubble just came off a cooldown. Or just came on cooldown. So let's see where that bubble lands. Okay, of note there, don't waste your bubble early. Especially not in this situation. Use your personal bubble right here if you really absolutely need to get charge. And that Flame Strike's a great way to do it. But at this point, there has to be another bubble in here, right? Take it from Dr. Psychotic's perspective here. Yeah, there's the bubble again. Getting decent charge. Yep, Marshkip goes down to blink there, a little too far up. Dark Psychotic in trouble. So let's pause it and let's go out, right? So we were talking about Dr. Psychotic's positioning earlier on Zarya, right? So Dr. Psychotic was up here. And then he rotates over here. And then he steps back just to here. But at that point, right, like, Hurricane had already stepped up all the way up here. What did we talk about earlier in the map about soft cover versus hard cover, right? What is Reinhardt? Reinhardt's shield is soft cover. It could drop at any point. You never know. You should never trust it. What do we have right here? Big, juicy hard cover, and up there is a mega, right? Like, Zarya can easily just jiggle peek out here, hitting right clicks all day. Ryan can sit in here, throw flame strikes down the fucking down Main Street, right? And you guys don't have to step out. They have to come to you. And that I see all too much, all too many times. We decide to come take these fights, come away from our hard cover, our fortified position, just to take a fight because we're antsy. Don't be antsy. You have every advantage in this engagement here, regardless of how they go, right? If they decide they want to push up here, obviously you can come back around here, and you're fighting in a better position than they are because you have more resources here with this wall, with these boxes. You got snacks behind you. You know, you can cover on the boathouse, right? Like, you have so many walls, so many things to protect you compared to this side, which just has this little booth here we can see on the bottom, right? And this corner, right? So just push on them from here if they decide to go this route, right? If they decide to come straight into your face, right? Like we said, you have Mega up here. You have this cover to sit around. And super easy. If you have a Junkrat, if you have a Genji, they can pop themselves up here. Obviously, the only mobility they have is Cheese Bum and Blink here. You do have to watch out for the Pharah, but, you know, you can dodge those rockets pretty easily still. Especially if it's just being aimed directly at you. That's That's not what I wanted. So definitely don't give up that solid position. Don't get antsy. Don't push forward on that, because that's what ended up getting Hurricane deaded, because he felt he had to step up to help Dr. Psychotic. And while Dr. Psychotic did live there, it put Hurricane in a very bad position where he's getting swung on by a Rhine and hit by a Pharah. Extra points here to mine. After about this point, Pharah can no longer hit you if she's in the sky. Natural cover from above, right? So remember that too, based on the team comp your opponents are playing. So let's speed it back up to normal speed. Hurricane coming out. Sadly, he was trying to come reinforce his team. Gets run down by a knockout and blink. Okay, we do have the McCree here. Alright, so just Pharah on the point. Ana going back onto the point. Pharah over the top. Alright, so of note, we were just talking about cover versus the Pharah, right? So Hurricane is now back. You guys need to be pushing forward and taking this space right here, right? Because if Cheesebum is going to stay in and around the gate area, he can't see over the Goliath tank. He can't. Like, this area, once again, another great place to stay if there is a Pharah shooting you from over in this area. It's really hard to get over the top here without putting yourself in trouble, right? And if you have a McCree that's kind of sitting up here taking pot shots in this direction, yeah, he could be in danger. Put the Ana with him. And as soon as that Pharah decides to come over to try and get these shots, you have the McCree there to absolutely obliterate that Pharah, right? And you have the Ana there to help as well, keep him alive. There, if anything, if the Pharah decides to turn and start shooting at them and they feel pressured, they can just drop down back here. There's a mini right here. And they can still have this sight line on the rest of the team that's holding the corner, right? So high ground is paramount. You do want it, but we want this cover too, especially versus a Pharah. It's really hard for a Pharah to not be vulnerable to hit this position. So at this point, we'd like to see Proof probably move up here with Rambo and Marsh Kip. This Tracer might be a problem, but I mean, one nade from an Ana will force a recall most times, especially when there's a McCree here and there's a Genji here, right? A nade plus dash can absolutely scare a Tracer off for days. So if you play Tracer and a nade plus dash from Genji doesn't scare you, then I question what would scare you, you maniac. Alright, so it does look like Hurricane wants to be pushing forward. Still playing a little passive. But yeah, now Cheesebum has the tank. Has perfect positioning. Rambo does decide to contest. Solo grab. Never underestimate a solo grab on a Reinhardt, especially when you're playing Rein Czar v Rein Czar, right? Take the Reinhardt out of the equation. Just solo grab him. Bubble your Rein while he's swinging. Do everything you can to take him out. I'll solo grab a Ryan if he's way out of position any day. Any day. But yeah, Born Chiller is just kind of right here. Born Chiller is out here by their original spawn, right? This is something that we haven't talked about a lot here with B2P, but it's about when to try to get out and when to know you're dead, right? So, yeah, he's Zenyatta. He's not going to get out of this. So I'd say wrap around and touch point and just die on point, or literally just face into point. They're going to kill you either way. Just face into point. Maybe you stall out the cart for like 2 seconds. Maybe you get to the cart and stall it for 2 seconds. And somehow you guys manage to get a retake right here 1 meter before it hits, right? So you're going to die anyways. You are going to be staggered anyways. Make something of your death. Push that payload, right? I mean, he's trying to roll out versus Ryan, Tracer, the entirety of the enemy team. Just run straight towards it. You're going to die anyways. Might as well try and get something out of it, right? Even if it's a minuscule, like, second of stall, you're going to die anyways. Get that 1 second of stall. Alright, so pin. Hurricane does like those big pins. I'm actually going to back up here. Okay, let's go to Doctor's perspective. I don't mean to be picking on Doctor here. I just want to see. Early bubble. Early bubble. So, this is exactly what I thought happened there. I might have remember seeing it from stream, but... So, you have your Reinhardt right here. If you know Hurricane, he likes these charges, right? Like, there are certain Ryans like Knockout, Hurricane, people like that like these charges. Vendetta even does these quite a bit, right? So we know a lot of the tanks we play with here in B2P because there's not too many tanks. So he's going to charge in. You're right here at the time. He gets the bubble as he's sitting down to make that charge. When you want to drop that bubble is not right here. You want to drop that bubble. You want to wait till at least here to drop that bubble, right? Bubble only lasts 2 seconds. Only blocks 200 damage plus any damage on the last set of damage over that puts it over that 200, right? So you want to wait till at earliest here, because by the time he gets to the payload, that bubble's gone. That's been 2 seconds. From here to here, that's 2 seconds. So if you wait till here, or even like there was no damage really coming in on him until right here on this beam, right? So more importantly, put the bubble on him there. You don't have to be anxious. You don't have to be super quick with your bubbles. You need to put your bubbles on when they'll be most effective, right? So right here, that's probably the best point for the bubble. Especially because, you have your Ana here who can obviously step forward and heal him from a distance. Yeah, the best bubble would be here. Like, if you cannot be staying in this position, like say the Pharah's pegging you, and you don't have your personal, yeah, maybe dropping it here and backing back around corner, perfectly fine. But this is the earliest you probably want to set it off. Primarily, you want to set it off here. If he hasn't taken his armor damage, and that's one big thing to realize, right? This is something I think it was Zath that I was talking about, right? So let's look at Reinhardt's health bar, right? Okay, he's taken some armor damage at this point. So his health bar starts there. That's his armor, right? If he hasn't taken his full armor damage and you're on a stall like this, you're just trying to stall, wait till he gets to that armor possibly. Like, wait till the full charge is done. He takes damage. He loses that armor, especially against beam enemies, right? I believe it's like 25% damage reduction or 30% damage reduction on beam. I'd have to go look it up again. But on beam weapons, it does a 30% damage reduction or a 25% damage reduction. That means he utilized all of that damage reduction from his armor on this beam before bubbling him. Because once that happens, he doesn't have the damage reduction anymore, and you're going to get a lot more out of his life by saving that armor. And while the bubble's on, if the Ana starts healing him from far away, all of a sudden you're getting more armor on top, right? So let's say, you bubble him, he loses his armor, you bubble him, Ana starts healing, and he gets back up to here before the bubble goes off again. Now that's more damage reduction on this beam for a longer period of time, right? With Zarya, it's not just about gaining charge with your bubbles, it's about utilizing them in the right moments and how you utilize them. It's not always possible to be perfect on it. Like I was saying, sometimes you bubble right there because you can't wait any longer personally. But yeah, it's very important where you when and where you bubble. And also, if you're at 99, if you're above 70 charge, don't be bubbling for charge, right? Don't be bubbling for charge. Bubble yourself to help yourself get out of bad situations, to face tank a little bit, and to save people, like your Rhine, or if somebody dives on your back line, to save somebody from your back line. So yeah, we do get the trance committed there. Zen does go down to blink. Sadly, that pulse bomb was wasted, but sometimes you just don't even know. All right, so we're getting our recontest here. 100%. Marsh Kip doesn't need to commit the high noon there. Wait, let's go back. I want to see this. All right, so we got Born Chiller switching off the Zenyatta, and we get the Lucio, right? Yeah, I don't have my mic muted. I'm just staring at it, right? Like, save it. Save it, Marsh. Like, 100% save it. A better action here for you, 100%. 100%, I'd say a better action than using that ult. Like, if you guys are choosing to Grav Blade here, commit just the Grav Blade, right? Like, commit just that. You're planning to do this, commit just that. I'd also like to see the Grav wait a little bit longer, but sometimes you just got to throw it out, right? Like, I'm not going to really complain about that too much. Ends up getting 4. When it comes to Grav Blade, right? And we're talking about Zarya timing things, and I don't mean to be picking on Dr. Psychotic at all, right? So he runs straight up, drops Grav right here, right? What I would like to see more out of this in this combo is, you see what Rambo's doing right here, right? Like, as this dash comes in, he dashes behind, starts pulling his ult. Everybody on the blue team's attention is going to be here, right? Is going to be facing this direction. That's when you drop the Grav, right? It's like Nano Blade, right? Like, if you nano too early, they're not going to have nano through the whole blade, like things like that, right? So same thing with the Grav Blade. You wait for the dash and then drop it, right? Wait for the dash, then drop the Grav. Now, getting back to what I was going to say for Marsh here, because he said he was fine because he ate the sleep, right? And granted, Dr. Psychotic setting it off early means you're all the way back here at Marsh. But you need to be standing right here if it's going to be put on corner, so that as soon as that Grav comes out, you can step around, flash up top, flash up above this shield. Take that shield down, right? A lot of times we talk about Reinhardt pinning and taking out their Reinhardt so that all the damage can come through. Just getting that barrier out of the way, right? What you got a McCree, just flash over the top of the barrier, and stun everybody. So A, Rambo's not going to take any unnecessary damage while, you know, he's going in for his blade, and there's no shield to block Dr. Psychotic here, or even to block Proof from getting some damage, or Born Chiller from getting damage, right? The Flash is definitely the better call there than the High Noon. So, but look at that. He got 1.5 slashes in before that grav came off. If he dashes in and then you drop the grav, he gets 3 total slashes out. Everybody's dead. You guys still got the team kill. You way over invested in ults, and I think the timing could have been a bit better. But hey, it's things to work on, right? That's why we do VOD review. Nano barrage. And it's just rolling. Yeah, that's just you use what, 3 ultimates on the other side now? Why is it slowing down when I do that? Nothing's wrong with the replay viewer, guys. There's some bug in the replay viewer. So Cassin's diving in. Yeah, definitely target call Hurricane right now because he's way back. You do have Dr. Psychotic on the ball. Now. Ball, no stun for the ball. Genji should be the target here, then finish out ball. Good stick from Blink. Always a great way to take out a ball. And yeah, we're seeing stall here just like we saw on round 1. Jeez, I've already spent an hour and 17 minutes on this specific game. They're long games though, like it's a 20-minute game. And to in-depth go over stuff, you know, you're going to take longer than that 20 minutes. And Nano Monkey. Oh no, Nano Rhine. Sorry, Nano Rhine. Nothing scarier than a Nano Rhine, right? In the middle of your team, swinging. Okay. Round 2 complete. 2:59 to 1 minute. Okay.
3. Switching sides. Initiating match.
Like, what's going on? Like, it's... So if I go slower, does it go faster? No, it literally is paused. Wow. What is going on with the replay viewer? I don't know what's going on with it.
Ready for battle. Ready for battle.
Alright. Looking at stats real quick, right? So we're looking at more ults used. Proof only went up 1 ultimate during that whole second round. That doesn't seem right, but that's what the stats dictate. So
5.
interesting note there, right?
1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
And don't worry, Marsh. Don't worry. It's learning, right? All right. So this looks like it's going really slow. Like it really feels slow to me. All right. So we do get the dive here with the monkey and the Genji. Still work like I said. You know, it's rough playing Genji these days outside of your blade. You know, especially at high tiers, Genjis don't get too much of value. But let's go normal speed. So you're already out your Lucio. You're already out your Ana. This is a back out here. Dr. Psychotic shouldn't have ever slammed there. If anything, he should have rolled through as we let this go, right? Like, so you're already down both your supports. You're already flying up in the air by the statue. Just continue your trajectory going here, or continue it and go back in the back. Don't just give up your life like that. Just get
10
out.
seconds
Be a
remaining.
presence behind them so that they have to worry about you. So ball's on point, sleep on Hurricane. Caston's definitely in a bad position here. For Cassins, your whole team is backing here to come to ball. I don't know if this was talked about. Yes, the Winston got slept here. You don't always have to charge something that's slept, especially when there's an enemy here, there's already an enemy on point, there's an enemy here, and an enemy here, right? Like, and this is the last enemy, the one that's sleeping. Your team's already going this way. You have to pay attention to where your team is and not make this charge. You're not going to kill that Winston with that charge, so you're not even going to get a trade out of it, right? You know, in Valorant and CS and stuff, you talk about trades a lot because they happen really quick. Deaths happen really quick, and you can set up angles to ensure the trade, right? But in this instance, you're not going to get a trade out of this. So move with your team rather than making this pin. Yeah, it seems like a short, good charge. Just don't do it. Because look, now they had just enough steam there to get onto you guys and take care of it. Dark Psychotic did end up dying on point. Imagine if you get that trade as opposed to trying to get the Winston trade you didn't get. So, like is so often said, just unbind your shift key, right? Unbind your shift key.
Objective
Alright.
lost. Stop the payload.
I have no idea why it's doing that. It is slower, isn't it? That's normal speed. That's normal speed. I don't know what's going on with the replay viewer, guys. It's bugged. Alright, so we got the blade coming out. Cassin's shattering, diving in hard. So, guys, when you're Reinhardt and you have a Genji go this deep into your back line, turn around. You can charge back to your back line, but just start swinging. Like, you have knockback, which could potentially get somebody outside of the range, right? But swing, like you do 85 damage. Granted, there's damage reduction from the nano boost, but it's extra damage. Just sit on top of your players and swing. That's the best thing you can do as Ryan. Trying to take the fight 1v5 back on the payload, not the greatest of ideas there. So yeah, I'll swap my audio over here afterwards, guys. It's weird that I have to be at 2 times to make it go normal speed, though. So grab, beat. Pinning the Winston. And yeah. You know, I'm actually going to kill this game here. Like, we got to get through this VOD review at some point, and we have 2 more over 20-minute games to do. We got a lot out of that game. We got a lot of talking points. You know, there's a lot of stuff to work on, a lot of points that we've seen. So, yeah, I'm going to kill that one. Let me fix my audio real quick because it seems that there's an issue. Let me add my virtual audio instead. What is it? What is that gaming desktop? Is that okay? I don't have it set up on the B2P scrim side, so Go ahead and add audio input capture, add source, VBAN. Add source.
While Greg is fixing that, guys, we are doing a new system for these VOD reviews. So where you guys used to do the clutch of the week and VOD review, now you guys get to go ahead and vote what VOD review you guys did. So I'm kind of putting Compton through the ringer here because these 2 long 20-minute games were very good games. There's a lot of good stuff to go over. So killing it is totally fine because just hitting those markers right there is good to go. But if you guys feel like, oh, like I wonder why we lost this fight, or what this team did was so good, I wonder like what they did so good with, you guys get to vote for it. So Greg's doing a great job, so keep on giving him all the love. Coach Greg, baby.
Yeah, just still get this taken care of. Output 3. Done. Set this to 3, and let's see. Let's go into Junkertown, guys.
Welcome to Junkertown.
Go ahead
Ready
and
for battle.
kill that. All right, so Junkertown. This is our escort map. I do need to update a couple things on our setup. This was Korean versus Ghost Sniper. Korean versus Ghost Sniper. So, match 2, escort. Korean versus Ghost Sniper.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Hope the audio is better for you guys here. All right, so let's look at our starting compositions here, right? So defense, we're obviously going with the squish dive, the Winston and Ball. Winston's kind of considered the worst tank right now. There's very few setups that you can run him with. He's actually very vulnerable, right? He's a very vulnerable tank, possibly the most vulnerable tank that is out there. So while Squish Dive may have worked in previous kind of things, it's really hard to bring the Winston without something to protect him, whether it's a Zarya or it's a Diva or something like that, right? Winston needs protection. Like, he has his tickle cannon, but he has to be so close for his tickle cannon, and it does such little damage. Like, it's not as scary as a big giant hammer, right? So running Ball Winston can work if you are very, very coordinated and you're taking the proper space. So what I'm talking about is, so let's say, let me jump back down in here, come a little bit closer. So let's say here at the start, right? Your Winston is waiting here. Your Ball is off in the top, right? Or even if your Ball is right here. So essentially what you have to do in the coordination that you have to have is that the ball initiates, flies up, and then slams, right? You have to land the Winston and the ball together. So what happens here is the ball lands a split second before the Winston, and a lot of times the Winston can cue it on when the ball starts to slam. He can start his leap. The ball pulls everybody in that you're trying to hit together. The Winston lands and punches and hits maximum amount of damage, right? Definitely you don't want to do this for something like a McCree. McCree, like we said earlier, is fluffy now. But the amount of precision timing it takes and the way that a lot of people play ball where they're just kind of doing their own thing, working on their own thing, outside of just getting a bubble from Zarya, there's not enough coordination, I don't think, to really run this comp super well. So, yeah, Tolberto getting out, that's fine. And he could have stayed in a little bit longer. He could have jumped up at the Widow. So yeah, okay, ball gets hooked. There's really no stun. There goes Tolberto for Widow. Does manage to get it. Bubbles down. I'm going to go back just a little bit. I want to look at something with Tolberto here. F5. Alright, so we know he's going to go for the Widow here, right? Okay, first off, he needs to jump to the other balcony, right? He doesn't need to jump all the way down. He does manage to dodge that. His leap, it looked like he hit his head on the bridge. So we're going to talk about that for a second, right? So let's go up here, up top, right? So this is just simple Winston things. I know I end up playing a lot of tank. I'm actually a support main, but I do play a lot of tank. So he dives up here to get the Widow, right? Widow ends up jumping down. Winston can make this jump from here to this wall. Anybody can, from the top of here to this wall, really easy, right? And the whole time he can still be zapping the Widow. And the Widow's still going to die in this position that she died in. Then you can easily get up here, use hard cover. Granted, they do have this guy right here that can come get you, and this guy right here that can come get you, right? Ball's not really too interested in Monkey. But you have this hard cover that you can stand behind, right? And then when you're ready, you can leap back to your team, right? That is the way it should have gone. A Winston standing up on top of something can zap down and hit people. Is great. Having the high ground is great. You can do that. The other issue that I saw there is Winston. This circle here is your lifeline, right? So yeah, he dropped down. He started taking damage, so he put his barrier up, right? At that time, you had several people over here and one person over here attacking you, right? So he's standing right here on the edge of his bubble. All he needs to do is keep moving backwards this way, right? This person's going to have to come push through the bubble this way or back up and try and get you as you go out the back. But these three people up front have to come into your bubble first. And then after you get outside of your bubble, they have to get on the other side of your bubble to attack you again, right? Yeah. Also, we're talking about hard cover here. This little wall right here that I said to jump on before, right? You can use that as cover as well. And I'll tell you, in the situation where I've played a bit of Winston, the easiest way to get out of this situation, I think I did this 2 weeks ago after I dove in and killed double sniper after the team was screaming about the snipers, is up over here. You can make that leap as Winston all day long, right? It's even easier if you're on this ramp. Easiest exfil for Winston ever in this situation is that jump, right? Even if they push through here, right? You have that staircase that's going to block you off. So if they are pushing through from Mega here, you can just choose to go up the ramp and leap over from that side. And let's say the Hog's standing right here and he wants to hook you, right? As soon as you leap, like that right there, that walkway is going to keep him from hooking you as well. So just things of note from Monkey is try to stay on the high ground as much as possible, because that's good space to leap from. You can get better leaps, and then worry about your jumps. Let's talk about one more thing if he doesn't do that, right? So staying in your bubble, which was right here, right? You can stay in your bubble, and we noticed he walked out this way and then tried to leap, and his head hit this bridge right here, right? 100%, if you stay in your bubble, you're not going to take enough damage to die because they have to walk into your bubble to do damage to you. and you can easily jump up onto this roof, like I was saying, jumping out the back, out the back, right? Let me move the camera a little bit more. Back it up just a little bit. You guys can see a little bit better, right? So you can easily leap on this roof and slide off the back here. Very simple, very easy. Then you have this hardcover and you have this corner to protect you. And it's very easy to rejoin your team. You can retake some high ground so you have a better position, right? Like, you have to be worried about things that will stop your jump, because I guarantee you he was meaning to jump up onto this high ground, right? He didn't get it because of that bridge. Be aware of things above you when you're leaping with Winston, because they will screw up your jump. All right, back into it. I don't know what's up with the replay viewer. Interesting. No, it works now. Okay, so fight incoming. It's stall. It's stall. Let's go back 20 seconds on that, because, sorry, I was dicking around. Okay. So Genji's up top. Yeah, that's rough. Until you can stay in this location. Grant, he shouldn't have jumped down just yet. You can stay in this location until they start pressuring that, right? Like, they have to leave the cart to pressure you. Your team's still standing up here. You can stay here and wait till the very last second that you have to touch. You can easily be looking back with your vision to see your team. And we talked about those outlines, right? Utilize those outlines like crazy. So, unfortunate, you know, he came out, got hurt, but, you know, his team ended up rallying and winning the fight here. So, just 2 supports and a soldier. Soldier is a nightmare for Ball until, you know, pops out the ult. Yeah, it's just Phoenix on point.
The payload has reached the
Brian trying to get out. Like I said before, right? Like I said before with Born Chiller, you're going to die anyways. You're going to get staggered. Just face plant on the cart. Face plant on the cart. You're going to get staggered anyways. Might as well A, get yourself staggered sooner, and B, stall the payload just a little bit, right? Alright, so here we go. Payload's still moving. Roberto leaping in. So that's one thing I tell a lot of people with Monkey. You don't need to put your barrier down right when you leap in, right?
Got you in my
So there's the hack. Multiple ults coming out here. We got 3 on the side of the red team. And what? 1 on the side of blue. Once again, Phoenix needs to be on the point there. You know, you're going to die anyways, so you might as well die on point. .5 seems to work. Alright, Tolberto trying to stall the payload. Always a bad feeling when you pull out a rage and you just get whole hogged into a corner. Good use of the whole hog there. Like, as much as it pains me to see it for Winston, 100% valid use of the whole hog. We did not, Zathara. We did not. Yeah, just spam more. Just spam more. That wasn't even a fight. All right. Let's talk about this for a second, all right? Fighting ahead of the point for tanks for red team. Very good. Dr. Psychotic dropping the grav here. What are you going to get out of this grav here is the question. Like, yeah, you can stop ball. Yeah, they don't have a barrier. Genji's coming back from their side, and Koreans coming back from your side. I'd like to see this grav held, especially because, you know, we're looking at no barrier. No barrier, right? So when there's no barriers, or I'm on the wrong team there, but it's the same thing on the other side, right? Same thing on the other side. No barrier, right? No barrier. So I would like more or less to see this comboed with this. So you're kind of waiting on this fight here for Korean to get back. Staying in hard cover right here, like where Tolberto is on the hog, is fine. There is a mini in there. And then utilizing this wall right here as well. They're going to get progress on the payload, especially with the other three members of your team sitting way back here. Yeah, Zen and Anna can heal from a distance. Tolberto can heal himself, but even right at this position where we're dropping the grav, we're still not stalling this bad boy right here, right? Yeah, again, it'll give time for Genji to get back as well, but I mean, we're looking to get a grav with the High Noon here. High Noon's not yet in a place where it can work, and that would be probably the call here. You know, you have the Nano, you have the Transcendence, right? Okay, so Phoenix jumps forward with Farah, gets a couple kills. We still bring out the High Noon. It doesn't end up getting anything. So it ended up working out in the end. Phoenix pushes forward, gets some good damage in. Ghost Sniper needs to be out. Ghost Sniper is out. Zathara ends up dying there. Korean. Lucario dies to Phoenix. The Sand's okay to be in here because he's cloaked. He's waiting on the EMP. But, what? Like, this is something we have to remember about Somber, right? Let's go back to our nice pen and paper. We have this. We're looking for this, right? This is what we are looking for. What do we have to combo with this? Yeah, maybe mines are fine, right? Like, okay, that's fine. Whole hog, okay, not the greatest. Like, if Sand can build it up, use it now and run it again with the Reaper, right? But you've already lost, you know, a couple. You're waiting for your Echo or your Moira to get back. That's right up here underneath that 0. You know, like it's hard. You have to have something to combo with. Like Blade is really good with it. I know we just came off of the Genji, right, from Markship. So yeah, that was probably the play before. But now we got to build up that Reaper ult, and with a hog and with no barrier in front of him, not hard to build up, especially when you get a nice hook like that. Whole hog. This is already a lost fight. And this is what I was talking about earlier here, guys. Like, Koreans should not be shooting these mines. 100% Koreans shooting those mines is a mistake. Your tanks should be walking into those, taking damage, because Hammond gets no ult charge from his mines. So it's free ult charge for your supports. Taking damage on your tanks from those mines and then healing them up.
Justice reigns from above.
Yeah, good EMP. We do have Markship on the McCree now instead of the Reaper, so...
The payload is approaching its destination.
Yeah. I understand Korean was in the back line there, had a high noon. SD Sand can take care of that, right? So what we saw here is Blink and SD Sand were back here messing with Korean, who was trying to get up to the high ground for a high noon, right? You only need one person in this team comp to worry about that McCree. And it's this one right here. As soon as he pops, like, SD Sand just needs to follow him, not come out of cloak, because you have to expect, it's been 2 fights since he has popped that high noon, right? Actually 3, I think. You know that he's going to have this. So at that point, McCree's back here. You know what he's probably trying for a Reddit high noon. All you need is SD Sand to follow him around. As soon as high noon starts getting done, SD Sand decloaks, hacks, brings him out of high noon, right? And then translocates back, completely eliminating that ult. Blink need to be here. The reason being this right here. You're going to push it within a meter of finishing. What's the best CC to cap a point in the game versus defenders outside of, maybe Sigma ult, right? And Sig-9ing them. This bad boy right here. If he's up here and as soon as they come out, he just presses Q and just back and forth, just sprays back and forth, back and forth. They're never getting to the payload. So I actually think Blink's positioning back here was a huge mistake that actually probably ended up costing a bit of time for his team, simply because he has the necessity you need to finish this payload getting in there, right? So, and this is the only thing you need on that McCree. Because you got to be expecting he's going for that high noon. Take him out of the fight, make it a 5v5, and eliminate his ult at the same time. Imagine if Blink was up there. That payload's in already. They have like a minute 20 on the clock. A minute 20 on the clock, right? So, this is only the first half of this game. All right, let's go.
Complete. Score.
Let's go, guys. Let's go.
2-3. Switching sides.
If I had a little bit more time and I could go through and actually do points, this would go a little bit quicker. Where I could have actually had point fights that I wanted to look at. All right, here we go. Coming out of the gate, Korean on the Tracer. We have Volskaya, typical long range. So you have Phoenix on the Ashe. That's fine. You're running Zen on him. Okay. I mean, like I said earlier on Blizzard World, I'd like the Zen Mercy with this setup a bit more. It's a lot easier to heal Ball with Mercy. And you have that pocket for the Ashe, right? Ball and Tracer can work in tandem together. Zarya can keep the Ball from being stunned and keep him alive, essentially. And Zen can provide that Discord that makes sure that Ball and Tracer pop things. On the other side, we got Ryan Hog, not the greatest setup. It's kind of like playing Sigma Hog, right? Where Sigma's job is to block the cooldowns and Hog's just there to get the picks, right? So it's not bad, especially with the Sigma nerf with the barrier where he's not as good at blocking all of the cooldowns because he has a 2.5 second. You can kind of play it the same way, and that's the way I would play it. Ryan's barrier is basically only there to block cooldowns, block nade, block sleep, block dynamite, block things like that, right? Block echo orbs. So that's mainly what Ryan is doing in this tank setup. It's not necessarily standing out in the open so that Blink can get a hook or that Blink can do damage or whatever. It's mainly to keep those cooldowns off of the team, especially specifically off of Hog. So play Ryan just like you played Sigma Hog, where you're blocking cooldowns with the barrier, saving it, making sure that you can block those cooldowns. We have the McCree and the Ashe, so we got the double hit scan here. Since they have a Ball, maybe swap off this Ashe and, give us something that can burn him down a lot quicker, or a Sombra, so maybe a Hanzo, maybe a Sombra, maybe even a Tracer, right? Like, Tracer would work in this setup as well. And we got Bap and Lucio. So Lucio's going to be pushing the Hog and the Rhine around so that they can get a lot of damage done. That's fine. and then you have that immortality field. Good. Let's run into it as I hit O as well. But yeah, Cassins is the first to go down in the fight. Remember what I was saying, guys, about Ana. Ana, you can't just sit back and just heal people anymore, right? You have to be making plays. However, you don't have to be right here making plays. You can be right here making plays. You can be right here on this wall by the Mega making plays. So if you do take damage, you can just step into the Mega, step back around car. Right? Use your natural cover. Use your hard cover. So Cassin's being way out here as Ana, not the greatest of ideas. Use that cover. You do want to be up with your team so you can make those easy sleeps, so you can make those easy nades, especially against a Roadhog here. And Korean going up against a Roadhog and a McCree, not the greatest idea in the world, but we'll move on with it. Does end up going down as well. Alberto gets hooked, gets beat down instantly. Phoenix going down to Mark Skippers. All right, and we all know I'm what people would call a Reddit Lucio. I do have to make note here though. Okay, that's where Phoenix went down. Logically, when you make these plays where you press as Lucio, you have to have a plan of what your plan of attack actually is, and it has to be a low risk, high reward type deal, right? So here, if you have Marsh sitting here, and let me get my pen back up. Marsh is sitting here, right? Zathara is coming through. He bounced off this wall. He's coming straight into the enemy team, right? What's the plan? What can he do from this position as Lucio, right? So a lot of times people just sit on the ground as Lucio and they heal. In lower ranks that works perfectly fine. In the metal ranks. But if you want to up your Lucio game, you have to start using his full kit. Zathar is trying to use the whole kit here, but I question how he's trying to do it. So he's trying to bounce in, go into the face of the team, right? So what are his options? What can he logically do that is going to get him high value in this situation? A lot of times, and you'll see it on different things like chokes, right? So let's say this bridge is Hanamura choke, right? And the door is right here. Right? So Lucio sometimes will ride up into the top of the wall, come down, and boop something out, right? To, get them out past the choke so that the team can actually do damage to them and get that pick, right? That's one of the ways that you can use it, and it's a very safe play, and you can immediately get out and things like that, right? So let's talk about that option here. Like, coming to this face first where you wall ride, bounce off, and come into their face isn't exactly the greatest option. If anything, wall ride up onto here, wall ride across, boop, and immediately jump back off around onto the staircase where you have cover. You can get the Zarya out. Zarya's already used bubble. Blink can hook that Zarya then because you've booped her out of cover. Marsh Kip can finish off with a couple of headshots, right? Like, coming face first here isn't the right idea. If you want to use the whole kit of Lucio, you need to be up top here. Come through. As soon as you hit this corner, boop, and leap off back this way, changing your momentum, right? And get yourself back to safety. That, and you got to tell Blink that you're making that boop, so he's ready for that hook. Hooks the Zarya, brings her back in. Easy pick. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that simply because, I do play a lot of Lucio. People call me a Reddit Lucio, but I'm constantly looking for these things like Zathara is looking for here. He's just not in the right position for it. You need to be up here on this wall, boop, and come back around, right? Even if like you boop and come around this way and come off this balcony, that's perfectly fine. Like if you don't have the skills or you haven't been wall riding long enough to be able to change your direction with speed, while maintaining speed, that's fine. Just go all the way around, right? It's going to be hard for this Ana to hit sleep, especially with her at half health. She's kind of freaking out, things like that. They're not really going to see you. They're going to recognize that you're there, and by the time they recognize you're there, you're gone. But don't go straight into the face, right? All right. Cool. Marsh kip down. Marsh kippers. Hey, kippers. Alright, so trades not coming out. There were a couple, but... yeah. Alright, so payload being pushed. Racers underneath. That's what I was talking about there, right? So play it like Sigma. So Hog, the blue Hog was right here. Ryan and Hog come out in tandem here. As soon as you see this Hog here, that shield has to be up like that, right? Because you know he's sitting there at that staircase waiting for a hook on anybody that comes out. Do it like Sigma. Like Sigma before the shield nerf. Or the recall nerf. You just throw your shield out there because you have this outhouse as cover as well, right? Do the same thing with Reinhardt. Just put that shield up so that that hook doesn't get value. As we can see, the purple did come in here on Blink, and that is savage. Long charge from Ghost Sniper. Of note, there's no reason to ever charge when there is a transcendence going on unless that trance is inside a grav and you're pulling it out of the grav, right?
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Alright, so real easy, real quick fight. Phoenix gets the kill on Marsh Kippers. Okay. They're being very aggressive with their Hog and with their Ash. Legitimately, back all the way out, right? Back all the way out. The reasoning for that being, there's literally a staircase right here. You can come up. This payload, you can see it. You can see the outline of the payload. It's only there. You know you're not going to be able to recontest. I wish more people would take the option of backing out and then coming up the staircase, retaking that high ground and taking the fight from this general area, right? Taking the fight from that general area. All right. So let's get back into it. Ghost Sniper should have been up a bit further there to block that nade coming in as well as the hook. And just a real quick fight. Zathara was on payload. Good job, Zathara. Put your body on point and die. Talking about it all night. Nano Hog.
Do something.
Ghost Sniper pins the Hog. Bob comes in as well. There should be a solid hold. The dangerous charge there from Ghost Sniper coming out the window and charging back. Okay. Marsh. Oh, you just went to bed. What is that I'm looking at? What is that I'm looking at where you just came from? Yeah, you're giving a little bit to your sports, but like you're standing right next to a you're standing right next to a health pack that would have put you just under full health. Would have put you probably like 190. Scatter comes out, the pin goes in, he goes after the Zen. Once again, Ghost Sniper has to block that hook there, right? And it's hard. It's hard. Like, we've played Rhine one way for how long? How long? But now, you know, he is the only kind of viable tank to do that, to block cooldowns in that manner, right? Like, right now, the characters... Let's look at the characters on the field, right? Like... So... Dynamite... Sleep... Nade... we did have Hook, right? Yeah, Tolberto just switched off the Hog. We had Hook. That's 4 cooldowns that you can just make non-existent for the most part. Right? Like, 4 cooldowns. You can just make non-existent. You can deny the Zarya of charge from her right clicks, right? Like, just blocking that stuff, taking the spam damage, using hard cover, like, 100%. 100%. Like, especially whenever Ana is in the game. This is one of the reasons it made Sigma so powerful, right? Is because he could stand on hard cover, hit a medium range shot. He had a stun, but he had that capability of blocking things like Ana. Like, Ana works so much better now that he's not in the game that, you know, it's just one of those things. No, I did not want to do that. So you got to be more apparent on the Rhine. You got to play him differently than you're used to playing him, especially with Roadhog. All right, so stalling the payload, just dying on point. Good job, guys. All right, and that's a few seconds off the clock, right? Doing that thing again. I have to do it slow. I can't do it fast. That's what it is. All right. Not going to talk about anything there. Korean was pressuring. There goes Marsh Kippers. There goes SD Sand. Alright, let's talk about Shatters right now. Shatter happened from here. Got like 2 people. Ghost Sniper immediately charged. Like, we see a lot of Reinhardts do this. I do it from time to time. Everybody does it. You don't always have to charge after Shatter, right? And even then, like, going all the way back here, not a good idea. Granted, he ended up dying right here. But going with that long of a charge, you're on the other side of you're putting their team between you and your own team. Don't do it. Like, a charge after a shatter should be short. Should be short. Unless you're legitimately, like, let's say, let's zoom in a bit here. Let's say the payload, the front of the payload's right there, and you shatter and they're all, like, right here, right? Then sure, charge from the payload, push them all back, because he knocks back anybody he hits, whether he pins them or not. Automatically, it's very situational, and automatically in that case, you would. Good push there from the graveyard. Karu dropping that. It is an overtime. And eventually it's cleaned up except for the Lucio. Bomb comes back in, Doom fits back in. Ghost Sniper gets hit by the hammer, which increases his momentum, puts him in graveyard. Okay. Cool. Now imagine if that whole hog had come out, right? Imagine if that whole hog had come out. You're looking at 2 minutes and probably 20 seconds. 2 minutes, 20 seconds, right? All right, so we do pick up the Junkrat here on the attacking side from Phoenix. Still running the Genji with Korean.
seconds.
You know, I think
remaining.
we'll call it there. I think we'll call it there. We won't watch the rest of this one either. It's already been a little bit of time on this one. We watched the first 2 rounds, got a lot of good stuff out of it. Let's go on to Ilios, guys, and I need to pick up who this was here. Control was Blink versus Jimman Master. Okay, versus Jimmy. Blink versus Jimmy. Anything else open? Flash top still open. All right. So it was Blink versus Jimin, and this is match 3, and it is Control. So this one's actually a lot quicker. I didn't really know which one to pick out of the 2. I remember that Ilios was possibly a little bit better of a match, even though they were both 2-0s. But not the last one. We still got Volskaya
Now
after this, which is a
arriving at
20-minute one.
Ilios.
Nips.
Ready for battle.
I am going to go a little bit further into Volskaya because I mentioned something on stream that I am also going to point out here on the first defense, on the third round defense.
Round 1. Capture the objective.
All right, so let's look at the team comps as they move in, right? So we're running Ryan, Zarya, Lucio, Tracer, McCree, Ana. That's fine. You know, the tanks can battle up front. McCree can peel for Ana. Lucio can move the tanks around, and Tracer can be hitting the off angle. Perfectly fine. Looking over at the red side, we have the Genji instead of the McCree, and we have a Soldier instead of Tracer. So if you can aim with Soldier, you can get a lot of value out of him. He's kind of self-sustainable as well. We are running the Ryan Zari here and the Lucio Ana. So right here, you're going to be looking for more poke damage here on the red side comp, specifically with the Soldier hitting an off angle and the Genji just kind of, you know, doing the Genji things. There's not going to be a lot of protection for the Ana here versus the Tracer, other than just hitting a sleep dart or landing your grenade to make her purple so she runs away, and then the Lucio boot. But you need the Lucio moving with the Zarya and the Reinhardt, so that means Ana's going to have to stick with the Reinhardt as well. So here we go into our first fight. All right, so it's an interesting fight here, and like I mentioned, right? Like I mentioned at the start. Actually, let me close that. What do we got here? Forcing Jimman back in here. Zarya is having to come back and peel, which means Zarya is not with Ryan. Ryan now is separated from his team on the other side of the enemy team. Granted, a lot of people are low because Rambo is swinging, right? Rambo is swinging a lot. The Ana is in there. Lucio's up here trying to boop Rambo away. Caston's just holding up that shield, trying to keep everybody alive as well. Flute's here. I'd rather see Flute right here at this point. Like, granted, he could flash and fan Rambo, which would be a good idea as well. But he should have been in this position, right? And same with Jonesy. Jonesy should be in this position. Jonesy should remain in this position. His team's going to cap the point most likely. He needs to maintain a position. You can see he slept here on the ground now. But staying up here is probably the safest position for Soldier. Simply because you can easily back off, come back around, flank. You can drop your heel up on this X and step back behind and still get healed by it. You know, you can quickly move yourself over here, make this jump and come to the bridge and just kind of alternate your off angle, right? Soldier's very good about moving and getting to different off angles, so keeping kind of a perimeter with Soldier rather than being on the point is probably better for Jonesy here. McCree being up on this high ground as well allows him to just kind of pop away above a shield. So let's say Reinhardt's sitting right here and the Ana sitting on top of the ramp where Tracer is here. McCree can easily shoot over the shield to hit that Ana, right? So definitely with your hit scans, you want to have them on these blocks great choice there. We'll see how this ends up playing out.
The objective
Yeah,
is
stun,
now-
fan, dead. And that's what happens when you get yourself on the other side of the enemy from your team, right? You can very easily get just kind of soloed out, and everybody can turn on you and get a nice kill on you. It's a lot of the reason why you don't deep charge, right? Because it does exactly that. So, Game Ruler trying to get out here. I would have liked to see him not go back in on that Lucio, and instead get up on top, right? So rather than going back in this door, maybe wall right up here, up around, and get up to this high ground so that he can scout where everybody is for his team so that they're not coming in blind, right? See, now they're coming in blind and they're just getting absolutely massacred. Like, that is the other part of Lucio's kit, right? He can get to places that that most of the characters cannot get to. He can stay out of range. He can be high on walls. Hell, he can get to places where nobody on the roster can get to except for Pharah and Echo, right? So he needs to be up there scouting, directing the team. Lucio should be your shot caller because he should be able to see everything. All right, so Shatter comes out. It's a nano to keep the Rhine alive. Not a horrible choice, but ultimate's all coming out here. That's 4 of the 6 from blue side. It looks like we got 2 from red side.
It's high noon.
Oof. That's the last 2 ultimates, but you know what? It cleaned up the fight, and that's fine. You know that they used everything they had as well. See, right here, just what I was talking about, right? And this is also for stall as well. Like Game Ruler, there's a nice little run you can make where you come off, you jump off of this little tower right here, this short tower. You jump off of this pillar. You jump off of this pillar right here. You slide on the side of this, and it immediately puts you right here where you can come up on this pillar and be up in this corner having sights on the point. And in this area right here, like you can see everything from that position, and you can get there in 4 seconds, right? Like if you want to start playing Lucio more, practice your rollouts. Go find the code for Lucio ring racing and just practice, right? Practice hitting specific targets. Granted, you're a little more freeform when you're actually playing, but Lucio ring racing is great because it's forcing you to make specific jumps. And if you can be up here as Lucio, like you can call out that Buffalo and Flute are over here by themselves, right? Like, yeah, Rambo's pushing this way. Cassins is here. Maybe Jonesy needs to push this way. Cheesebum can come over the top, start putting damage in here. Get several pot shots with both of these AoE characters to put both of these people low. Game Ruler's up here. If Rambo cannot get past Cassins, Game Ruler can drop down, hit this wall, hit this wall, hit this wall, hit this wall, and just make a diamond shape if he wants, right? Just make a diamond shape until his team reinforces him on point. Like, that is the kit of Lucio. And a lot of the stuff that you don't see people doing. So we'll get it playing again. Rambo does end up pushing forward, getting on point, which is fine. Lucio doesn't need to be on point right now. Pharah doesn't need to be standing on point. Tank should be rotating in on this.
Fire in the hole!
Fire gets one out. So before this kicks off, I want to point out something, right? The entirety of red team is coming to this ramp except for the Pharah, who is standing on point over here. There was a nice defensive shell over here, right? So you had your Reinhardt holding kind of this area right here. Your Honest holding this area close enough down to the point where she can't get hit over the top of the Rhine shield. You had your McCree sitting right here. Granted, I would have liked to have him more up here. Remember, only one person needs to be touching the point at once. And then Zarya was over on this side. Out of range, but keeping the Pharah in check, right? out of range where she can actively be hit, but she can still support the Reinhardt. There was a nice little arc that the team had where they're keeping the space while having a lot of open space, but making sure that they have all of their bases covered. Eventually, the team ends up getting pushed back into here, and they all die because they come after Cassins, who went for a pin over here. But yeah, it's a nice little shell holding space. Zarya doesn't always have to be right in the face, right up with Reinhardt. I mean, as long as you're within beam range to zap their Reinhardt while he's swinging, you're close enough. You don't need to be any closer, right?
Score.
Because you don't want to have to expend that personal bubble just in case that Reinhardt goes down and you do have to, do the little bit of face tanking that Zarya should normally have to do. So go ahead and this. Oop. Back up just a little bit. Not far enough. Not far enough still. I just went a little bit too far. That's what I did. Go back 20 seconds. All right, looking at their team comps. Very much same from blue team. Red team has swapped up to a Reaper now. And Jonesy no longer on the Soldier, but on the McCree. So, oh, we got a Moira instead of an Ana, right? So, nice bubble there. Let's go ahead and move ourselves up. Yeah, this is one of those points that you can just take and kind of hold, right? I mean, it's not as good as Night Market on Li Zhang, but you can just kind of take it and hold it. It's hard to push in versus two supports, Orion and Zarya. Yep. Jonesy almost made it back in. Blink did manage to kill him. Another interesting charge. This one's going to go a lot faster than the rest, guys.
Hammer down!
They finally do complete it. It was just a brawl. There's nothing you can say about that. Besides, like, nitpicking on, cooldown usage and stuff like that. That's a brawl. You just try to win it the best you can. Alright, so yeah, they are pressuring corner. Blink is coming back. We're looking at 4 ultimates to 2. Question that High Noon ultimate, but at least it's wasting time. Huge shatter. This is just being too aggressive. Remember we were on Blizzard World and we were talking about holding the rocks, holding that solid hard cover, letting them take the damage, take the spam damage, not taking the fight to them. Like, you have a very defensible position. This corner right here, right? From this corner, you can see anybody that comes out of any of these routes to go into here, right? From this corner, right? So if somebody's coming in to where this Mega is and possibly flanking you. This is the most powerful corner to be on if you're not just going to sit on point. Which, in fact, I prefer this corner over sitting on point. It's not Lijiang Market or Night Market, so it's not that defensible. But once you push up into this area, right? Once you push up into this area, you cannot see anything that's sitting right here. All of a sudden, you can get flanked from over here. You can get hit from here while also dealing people on the front end, right? If somebody had taken this route, say it's a tracer, say that tracer has pulse bomb, and you're pushed up into this area. You know how juicy that is for a tracer? Absolutely juicy. Don't ever push up this far unless you've already killed like 4 people and there's 2 people just trying to stagger themselves, right? Like not paying attention and staggering themselves, and immediately get out. As we can see, you know, pushing up too far, we get the shatter coming in from the side, hits everybody down. Good. Awesome. Great. All right, so just bottling up on choke. With the cat looking for something. We got a grab and a shatter out. And get anything else there? No, I don't think we did. That's just ulting, right? Double ulting, double tank ulting. A lot of times you can get a victory off of that. Dangerous by Cassins, especially now that they have a hog. Cassins gets picked and everybody's on the back foot.
It's hands.
Yeah, we do have Nano. Beat came out. That's just a Death Blossom on point. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that's all she wrote for this map. Jim-Man just jumping off point. The Game Ruler does manage to get a touch in the end, but ends up dying. Nano onto the Rhine. And it's just, you know, people bought the farm. Bought the farm. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Ilios. So a rather quick one there on that one. Yeah, my favorite map type. My favorite map type. All right, guys. So here we go, getting into this last one. It is on Assault. It's Buffalo versus Cheese Bum. So we're gonna go ahead and get that set up real quick. Buffalo versus Cheese Bum. Properties, match 4, Assault. Yeah, we only had 4 matches. Done. All right, guys. Last one. Let's head into it. It's already 10:30. We've been on for just under 2.5 hours. Because I decided I wanted to do that full first game and then decided to cut it short.
Ready for battle.
Here we go. Look at our team comps here. It looks like Genji's having a little late time getting out.
2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective.
All right, so we got Rambo here on the Genji, still not out of spawn. We're looking at Rein Zarya. Rein Zarya, right? We're gonna see a lot of Rein Zarya. We're gonna see a lot of Rein Zarya here in B2P. It's very easy to play. It's very comfortable to play for a lot of people in the metal ranks. But as far as it goes for the DPS, we got attacking. We got May Reaper. So I remember this. They're going to try to come out and do the May Wall pin. They don't actually connect on it. But they're also running the Zen Ana. Very greedy. There's not a lot of peel capability. And very slow, right? Like, no movement capability whatsoever between these two characters on supports. Over on the blue side, you know, like we said, we had Rein Zarya, we have Korean spamming with the Junkrat, we got Rambo on the Genji. And we're looking at the Lucio Ana. So Lucio helps in this situation, you know, it helps move Ana around if she's in trouble, helps peel for Ana with the boop. Also can help the Rein Zarya get in and out of fights. Not really much help to the DPS, but, you know, you got the Nano and you got the Blade, right? I think a lot of times, like, us here in B2P, we play a lot of Ana because we're too reliant on the Nano, which is why we all see a lot of Genji, right? So let's go ahead, let's get into it.
Hello.
and why we always have so many so many nanoblades hitting top 10. All right, it's a nice little rotation there. Rambo's behind, going after the Zen. Still right-clicking at that range, like, yeah, should be left-clicking at that range. All right, so Cheese Bum goes down early, but Korean goes down early as well. Like, I need to back this up because I need to see where Korean was and how he ended up to die to the Reaper, right? There's Genji. Alright, so Korean's in that room. He's the mine. Oof. Oof. Stop for a second. Yeah, so... where is he? He's F2. I talk about this all the time, guys. Look at... Oh, shit. Talk about this all the time. What is this, right? That's how many mines you have and the cooldown for gaining another mine, right? Look where he's at. 0, right? And this is a situation that really could have hurt his team, right? He couldn't get the kill with just grenades, so he decided to use a mine. He used one trying to get her originally, accidentally hit the wall, and then threw his second one out to finally get the kill, right? But what happened? Reaper comes in and he has no movement capability because both of his mines were just instantly used and they're on cooldown. I talk about this so much. Like, if you only use the mines for killing and you have to use the mines for killing, you're ruining a lot of the utility that you have and a lot of the movement that you have with Junkrat. If he has that second mine, Reaper coming in this door, right? He can choose to throw that mine at Reaper, blasting him back, or he can kind of 90-degree place the mine here and shoot himself up here. Forget this health pack here, right? There's a better, bigger mega over here, right? If he has that second mine still, he's straight out of dodge. He can rejoin. His Ana's up here. His Ana's up here. Ana, I need heals. Ana, I need heals, right? Like, he's rejoining his team. He could even spam out these windows at that point, right? He doesn't survive because he doesn't have a mine. Because he was trying to use his mines to kill, right? And you shouldn't have to do that. You should always temper that and keep one. Like, yeah, you can use a mine to kill, but save a mine, right? To cover your ass. Save a mine to cover your ass, or to put yourself in a position where you're safe and able to do more damage. So let's go over the top. It's a good example, and it happens a lot. Yeah, red side's just really low. They have no supports. And, you know, Lucio, Genji, and Zarya just do it, right? Yeah, the regroup coming in. Phoenix is out on the building. Okay, now they finally go in. So of note here, and I'm going to pick on Vin because I'm really good friends with him. I've been friends with him for a long time. Vin, like, the team's moving up. By the time his team gets here, he's already standing here, right? Like, as Reinhardt, that's actually a big no-no to be this far away from your team, right? To be that far away from your team is a big no-no. Instead, there's this wall right here, right? Stand right here, wait for your team, and then when you're ready to go, it's full W. you're doing shield hopping, proper shield hopping, which, I can show you guys after this, proper shield hopping if you really want it. But, right? And you just push in. Look, they're going for the wall again. You can use that charge if you wall off somebody. Like, pushing aggressively, especially with a Mei here, where you can pull off this type of play. Granted, the Lucio's not the greatest target to hit there with the wall because he can just easily get over it. But if you get like a Reinhardt or the Zarya or the Ana or something caught behind this, and then Vin's able to dive into that, it creates an artificial wall that allows Vin not to make a long dive, but get a quicker charge, right? So being aggressive, but tempering yourself, right? We've been talking about that all night. Tempering yourself and not getting anxious and just going for something. Wait here. Once the team is together, then push aggressively. So Vin was out over here, wasting shield, standing up here, wasting shield, holding it up, blocking for nothing. When you stand there holding up his shield, his team's still rounding this corner. There's nobody in this area behind him, right? Just stand behind truck at that point if you've made that mistake and you're that far. Or use your shield just to get back over here. As soon as you're able to walk away, take a little bit of damage, get your supports a little bit of ult charge, and then stand there and wait for your shield to be back up, and then push aggressively, right? So you always have to be aware of where your team is as Reinhardt. And here Vin's going to end up going down. This is a full out. This is a full out, guys. You got to get fully out. And this is the situation I was just talking about on Ilios, right? Same thing here. Like, you never want to push past this or past this. Ever. Ever. Unless you're a high mobility character that can be up on top of this building and you have the cooldowns to get out, right? That's the only reason you want to pass this box right here. Ever. Right? Unless, just like with Ilios, like I was saying with that corner, you've already won the fight and there's like 2 people left or 3 people at low health, then chase, right? Then chase. Get those last staggers. Like, if they are easy kills, now if it's like a full health Reinhardt and a fucking Mercy behind him, don't chase that, right? Like, if it's just those two, don't chase that. Like, they're just going to back up into here, into Mega, and their team's going to come out and just blast you into high hell, right? But this is a perfect example of what we were talking about on Ilios. Don't push past the specific point of no return unless this specific thing that we just saw happens. So on Ilios, they shouldn't have done it. Here on Volskaya, they should have, and now it's immediately just getting back. Right, you got the kill. You solidified the kills you needed to get. Rambo's a little too deep here. Like, it's 100%. It's 100% 180 and W. W stands for walk, guys. W stands for walk and S stands for stagger. So yeah, Rambo out there. He's looking for his blade. He's just waiting. I think this might be the push where they actually get in. That's dangerous versus a Mei for Rambo to be doing. Buffalo ends up getting hit. There it is. There is the wall. It's finally worked out for him. Blade comes out. Immortality Field comes out. It is down, but Blade gets absolutely nothing. Alright, so Rambo does finally go down. And yeah, this is where they finally do it. Right? So that wall finally works out for them. They managed to get the Zarya off of it and then just clean up the rest of the kills. So. Alright, here we are. Nacho Cheese is up top. All right, so they're just starting to snowball in. They did use the Death Blossom already. Sinistera gets out, popped out of mech and killed. Just Rambo on the point right now. Phoenix can't get in because of the wall. Definitely a decent wall, but I'd rather split somebody off. I guess they did split Rambo off there. Alright, Blade comes in. Immortality Field's out. Yeah, so they do get the BAP here. So it's one of the supports down, but I mean, you know Diva's coming back in at this point, right? Like, and this is what we've talked about a lot, right? We've talked about this a lot. And it's about proper stall, right? What have we talked about before, right? You have it till here to touch the point, right? You can give up 2 ticks. You can give up 2 ticks, right? Rambo needs to hold that blade from up here as long as he can. Needs to dash 2 point. Of note, the top of the point, I believe, is about midway on this wall, if I remember correctly. So you have to stay within the height of the point. And then you pull your blade and you dash again. As soon as that immortality field comes up, ignore it. They're scattered. Cheese Bum's back here. You don't want to go for him because that would pull you off the point at that point. May's going to ice block. Reaper's going to fade. So just kill this. Kill this right here. It's not... Typically, your Reinhardt's not going to be standing in the immortality field. It takes a couple of swipes to kill him. But if you take that main tank off the board with no Mercy, because Mercy was banned... You know, and then your team, if you've waited long enough, if you've waited to this point, your team should be coming back in at that point. And with the loss of the main tank, it's a lot easier to win this, right? Think about, you know, taking 85 damage every, what is it, 0.8 seconds versus not taking that, right? So it's very tough to deal with, but just kind of waiting a little bit longer. Yeah, and Buffalo right there, like, as soon as you hear that ult come out, you gotta know that there's knockback. That's gonna push you away from the point. As soon as you hear that come out as Diva, you gotta get in there and you gotta touch. You got 2 lives, like, somebody has to touch it, right? Like, you're gonna get knocked back like we saw Buffalo get knocked back. The other option is to immediately fly yourself up to here where you can't get hit by the Diva Bomb, right? And then as soon as it explodes, boom, drop in, right? Like, those are your only options. Those are your only options. So, yep, let's continue it going.
Time to... Initiating match.
Yeah, this one I really thought was going to go to 8 rounds, but it did not.
Ready for battle.
All right, so looking at our team comps here, obviously we got the Torbjorn from Flute the Cat, Torbjorn. We got the Soldier from Nacho.
1.
You know, we're running that that Bap Ana that we ended the round with, the Ryan Zarya, Reaper, Pharah. You know, Rambo's on that Pharah. It's really hard to justify the Pharah in this with Mercy banned, but you know, it's a thing. So yeah, this is a point that I really want to make note on, right? We're gonna see Cassin's dive here at Vendetta, right? As soon as you have chosen to go this route, you have only one way you should be planning to go, and you should be planning to do it really quick and really soon, is straight up onto here, right? Cassins is lingering a little too long. I don't know why Buffalo's over here. Lucio should be pushing everybody through as quickly as possible, right? The team's a bit split here. Your Ana Zathara is way over here. Like, if you guys are going to go this way, the call has to be that, and everybody has to get it. Think Temple of Anubis and the way everybody always tries to go. Do the same thing here if this is your plan. Right here, the team is way too staggered about. Cassins is going to end up charging at Vendetta, which puts him even further away from his team. Zarya is not there, able to bubble, and everything just kind of goes to the pigs here. Yep. The bubble does end up coming in. But right now, like, this should be a back off, right? This should be a back off, take the high ground. You know, we got the Pharah. Pharah can just rain damage in. But what I do like seeing here, and I guarantee it was probably Cheesebum calling for this as the captain, we got 3 people in Mega. We got 3 people in Mega. I am loving that. That is absolutely perfect. Sinistera should be back here too. Nacho should be back here as well, because Nacho can easily come up here like Torb does and get pot shots here. You know, if they're still hanging out in this area like Cassins and Buffalo are doing, he could run here, shoot from one of these windows for the off angle. Like Nacho and Sinistera need to be back there, as well as Vendetta, who I believe is, yeah, he's right there. Like, everybody, as soon as you see the enemy team take this route here, you have to make a decision. Are you going to meet them here to try and keep them from taking that high ground and keep them in that room? Or are you just going to say, hey, we're going to play the more defensible position and back into Mega, right? So you have to choose one of 2 things right here. As soon as they boost into here, you have to choose to either meet them at the door or take the defensible position. 9 times out of 10, I'd say this is the better bet, right? Because you don't really have any safe space down here. You're still wide out in the open, right? And let's say, just like we had it, right? Just like we had it, Zathara is still sitting here and you haven't realized that. And everybody from your team pushes up to hold this door right here. Zathara just steps forward, sleeps your Rhine, and then they just push in and just absolutely obliterate, right? That's why I say 9 times out of 10, it's better to go that way. Because even so, if you push this door, they can easily come here and outflank you for that good positioning, right? So 9 times out of 10, you really want to go there. I'd say options for going and pressing door is if on the way in you get a pick or 2, then pushing that door and just kind of taking the fight into that room is probably the best bet. Just clean up the kills. You're taking a 6v5, so probably the best bet though. Yep. Nice little cleanup there. You know, the very defensible position saved the supports in the Torbjorn. They had the Mega, they had both supports in there. Torbjorn could just put down his turret, could just right click, and ladies and gentlemen, it's hard to enter that room that way. He put it on the stairs too, on the lower part of the stairs. I remember that specifically. Alright, so Vendetta is way too far up without his team here. You can see that they're actively trying to keep them from going to the same route that they just went. Sinistera should not be in that room by themselves. Does manage to get out.
I've got you in my sights.
Vin doesn't need to be charging there, but it does look like it was a play they called with Nano. Beat does come out. Gets Shatter, gets Korean. Alright, so we got Molten Core. And right here, Zathara and Rambo need to get out. Like, Zathara already has their ult. Rambo's going to have it in the next fight anyways. So it's not like you're at that like 50-60 range, right? Where it's questionable if you'll have it in the next fight. Like, you're already at 85. Get out. Get out. You don't need to build any more ult charge. Especially not high noon, right, on Volskaya. The turret's getting a lot of work on that right side. Diva Bomb goes out. Does not get anything. I know that much. It's a low value Diva Bomb. Nano now comes out. Ben just gets separated with this grab. Ammo field goes out to try to save him. Nade goes out to try to save him. Right there, if I'm Cheese Bum, that Rhine swinging on my Rhine, I'm just throwing a sleep straight at my Reinhardt to most likely hit their Reinhardt and sleep him. Right? The whole team is just trying to keep Ven alive there. That sleep would come in handy very much. You can see the sleep coming, or the nano coming out right now on the soldier. The soldier just used, Nacho just used the visor on the last fight. Alright, so Cassins is down, Buffalo's down. Phoenix ends up getting tickled down by Diva, and Rambo's down again. Alright, so here we go, 45 seconds on the clock. They do end up taking this point, guys. We wouldn't show you this game in VOD review otherwise, probably. But...
Thirty seconds remaining.
Coming in on the beat. High Noon coming out. Gets 2 with the High Noon. Vin's barrier had to have broken on that High Noon. We won't look at it, but it probably did.
10 seconds remaining.
Cassins does go down, but I believe we get our Death Blossom in here, yeah. Sadly, he does get purpled by Cheese Bum, but manages to take down Baby Diva and Ana in the process, which leaves it at 2v3 with both supports and a McCree, right? Like, so yeah, here we go. Diva bomb out over the top. Doesn't manage to get anybody. Then missing the charge there. But hey, they get the Reinhardt still. He got purpled by Cheese Bum. Buffalo ends up going down. Good thing Rambo's, Zathara, and Phoenix have learned their lesson. They're getting out here. They're getting out of... They're going full back, right? Like on Hanamura, where you go way back to point A, right? Same thing here on Volskaya. Just get out. Yeah, so we're gonna have... It looks like half the team wants to take platforms, half does not. Like Korean is going to. Phoenix is going to rejoin the rest of the team. Oh, and Cassins goes down. Korean's down too. This is a fullback. Looks like that's what they're trying to do. Buffalo's staying up a little bit. Yeah, just get back here, guys. Go rejoin the 2 people who died. I don't care if there's a Diva on the high ground there. Diva's not going to do anything besides scout from the high ground, and they already know that you're going to be coming in that front side, so. Alright, so it looks like we are taking the high ground again. We do have High Noon, Grab, Shatter, Beat coming in here. A lot of ults coming out from both sides there. Saw 3 from red. That is everything that blue had. But they end up turning this fight with it, right?
30 seconds remaining.
Hysterica could have waited a little bit longer there. Does get demeched for the effort. Like, you've already given up the tick, let it go a little bit further, right? Visor comes in from ground level and is down. Oh, look at Nacho there for a second, guys.
30 seconds remaining.
Alright, so Nacho hasn't respawned yet. So yeah, like I said before, guys, we've talked about it a lot. Like, they've already gotten this tick. We can see right there they've gotten the tick. Sinisterra can wait a little bit longer, right, at that point. Just to allow the Rhine and the Lucio to catch up a little bit, so that there's a little bit of healing, and Rhine's there to swing and shield. Flute was just kind of in a bad position all around. Wasn't able to stay alive. Alright, so Nacho has spawned. So, let's look at this. Vin's on point. Nacho is up top.
I've got you in my sights.
Yeah, okay, that's what I wanted to see if he was on top or not.
Round
Yep.
2 complete.
It's rough, man, but if you can test at the right time,
2-2.
it works, right? So yeah, that was just an ungodly amount of ults. That's usually what you see in quick play when there's a first attack cap. You just see that snowball come in with ultimates and the attacking team wins, right? Let's go ahead. Let's talk about this defense here. This is the last thing that we're going to talk about here in the VOD review. These cheeky plays. I don't know if this was Cheesebum calling this or what, but I don't like it. I don't like it a bit. The reason I don't like it is because this is high risk with low reward, in my opinion. Very high risk with very low reward, right? So the reason I call it very low reward is you have 3:44 on your clock. They had 1 minute when the doors opened, right? So if this is the team with 53 remaining that's defending, 100% do this. Like, this is like this is like a great shot to get a victory here, right? Like, to get some of that extra 3:44 off the clock, right? Granted, it doesn't work that way. The lower time bank goes first, but right, you know what I'm saying. They have 3:44 on the clock. This team only has 53. This is a very high risk maneuver that they're trying to do to just win a fight instantly, right? So let's say that this doesn't work out for them, but let's say it does, right? And they instantly kill 5 people on the team, and maybe Zathara gets out, right, with Fade. Well, this, during that fight, probably only went down 8 seconds, right? So now they still have 40 seconds to respawn, get out, and get another fight. They're not rushing to the point. They have time to make a move, to make a good push. That's why, to me, this is very, very low reward. Because if it succeeds, if what you're trying to do succeeds, you're giving them a second shot with more time in their time bank, right? Than they would have had if you just would have been sitting in the plane, default at the choke, or back here on tractor, right? Or even if you played like a normal, like a pro team or a contenders team, where you actually held high ground either on this side or back here, right? Like, you're going to burn more of their very limited clock with these positionings, right? With one of these 4 positionings, than if you instantly kill them with this cheeky play, right? There's no reason to be taking this high of risk with this little reward on this play. On the other side, you could demoralize them, you have to hold for 3:44 anyways, so might as well take a fight to get great, to get lopsided ultimate charge. Like, there's high reward if you have to be doing 3:44 worth of time that you're defending. There's very high reward if you pull this off. I mean, it's still very high risk, but there's very high reward as well. You will be in control of the ultimate game for as long as that game is going, and you don't blow all your ults at once. So I really don't like this move. We're going to watch till it plays out. We're going to watch to the point cap, and that'll be the end of our VOD review here. Like, I 100% didn't agree with this play. Here they go. They're going in. Like, if that goes the way they plan, fight's over right now, right? That's still 43 seconds. By the time they're out of spawn and at the choke again, they have 30 seconds left. 100% not a warranted thing to be running. Not a warranted thing to be trying to do in this situation. You know, it's like we've talked about in the past. Like teams on Escort that know that they pushed the payload almost to the end of second point, and there's only a minute on the clock for their opponent, or a minute 30 or a minute 40 or whatever it is. They only have to win one fight. So if they bank their ultimates and play for that overtime and winning that one fight, 90%, 95, 98% of the time, they will win that, right? On Escort, if they've gotten a good push on their extra round. So you got to think of the time bank and what it means to you and your team. And, you know, just for good measure, because they actually end with time remaining here for blue team, I'm just going to let it play. But you have to think about the situation you're in, and you have to very much play to your advantages. And playing safe there, as opposed to playing super aggressive, is the far superior play for the red team in that instance. But yeah, guys, that is going to be the end of our VOD review here for B2P 35. We'll probably clip some of this out and throw it up on the YouTube channel as well. That Volskaya map that we just watched is our game of the week. It should be going up on YouTube, on our YouTube channel here this week. So definitely check that out. If you have